Hello friends, welcome to this final tutorial in ChatGPT RPA series. In today's blog, we'll explore OpenAI capabilities and we are going to compare those with BARD. Below in video description, you will find links to GitHub source code and YouTube playlists. So let's browse to our GitHub RPA repository. Inside this RPA GitHub repository, if you're looking for other Python related automation code, you'll find links to different examples here, which perform variety of different tasks. In today's blog, our main emphasis will be on how to access ChatGPT API, run different prompts, code interpreter, and finally compare few code scripts to BARD. So let's get started. Accessing ChatGPT is very simple. You can simply log into their website and start using a prompt. Also for your convenience, they also allow Python, Node.js, curl-based API along with authoring your own plugin. So in this section, we are going to show you how to create your own Python API. First thing you have to do, pip install OpenAI. So I already have installed, I'm not going to do that again. Simply, and then you call OS module here and OS module so that you can set up an environment variable here. Whenever you sign up for OpenAI, it gives you two things. One is the organization and there is one Open API key. So you need to have these two available so that you can call their OpenAI API. So, and once you have those ready, and again, that's the reason I imported the OS module, because I set up that OpenAI API key as an environment variable. All right. So as you can see, os.getenv, it will access that Windows environment variable and it's going to bring that to, API key variable here. Now, next thing you want to specify the model engine. As you can see, I am calling out, there are two different options. Either you can use GPT 3.5, text DaVinci, and if you don't know, simply just query the list of the models. I know the GPT 4 is the latest model there, but simply, if you do the openai.model.list, it will display all the list available to your particular account. So depending on your subscription type, you may see something different. If you have a paid subscription, and then you obviously will see a lot more advanced model list here. All right. Now, after you define all parameters, let's call chat completion interface on this OpenAI package here. And inside the chat completion, let's call a method called create. And this create method accepts two parameters. First is the model, which is because the model engine, that means the model type you want to call out. In our case, it could be GPT 3.4 or GPT 4, depending on your subscription. Next thing is it accepts the messages here. Now message, again, there are two key values pair you have to pass, role and the content. So content is, again, suppose you want to rephrase a sentence or whatever the prompt you want to value you want to pass, that goes inside that messages. All right. So now let's go print that. Let's call this function and let's print the content of the whatever it returns. So print completion choices.message.content, and this is similar to what you will see when you use the ChatGPT web-based interface. All right. Similarly, using curl, very simple command. Basically, all you are doing, you are calling calling OpenAI API, and you are passing this parameter. You are passing an authorization token in form of your organization and API key, and you are passing the content that what you want to, what model you want to access and for what. So basically, the whole point of using OpenAI ChatGPT API is that you can use Python or curl-based interface instead of like using the web interface, so that you can use those functionalities inside your application. Now let's move on to another section, and in this section we are going to learn how to work with ChatGPT prompts. So now ChatGPT prompts are nothing but a set of instructions to access ChatGPT API functionalities. And once you learn few techniques, few tips and tricks, how to use these prompts, that will definitely lead to better results. Again, these prompts are more of an art. It's a language art than science. So let's go ahead out to our web interface and try out few examples here. All right. So as you can see, write an intro paragraph to my technical blog post. Again, these are again the set of instructions, and you just have to, include appropriate prompts so that you get better results. So for example, if you want to rephrase a sentence, you want to you have to give a specific instructions to ChatGPT saying rephrase this sentence. What it's going to do is going to take your sentence, whatever you input, and it's going to rephrase it and return the appropriate blocks. All right, let's see a few more examples here. Again, you are going to find all of these examples included in the video description below. So for example, if you want to write a blog post, or if you want to write a tweet. So tweet, if you say write a tweet, ChatGPT understands that you are expecting a fewer characters. That means something which fits into 250 or 300 characters. Similarly, if you ask ChatGPT write a blog post or write an essay, it understands that you are expecting something in 250 words or something like that. So again, you can use other prompt like, hey, classify this particular these entities. So again, as you can see, I passed the instruction. I gave it a silly example, so I don't think ChatGPT did a any good job here. So again, you have a choice that if you are not satisfied with the results, you can provide feedback to ChatGPT. And I think, they use this feedback to retrain their neural networks. All right. Similarly, you can define a persona. So for example, the perspective. So write a paragraph in an informal style and write a paragraph about something in formal style, or maybe, intuitive style, things like that. So if you pass those prompts, those particular words in your prompts, ChatGPT understands that, okay, that how to how to put emphasis on certain things. Similarly, another useful feature is the code completion. You can write a mermaid graph. It understands the mermaid.js very well. It understands Python very well, but don't expect you to, ChatGPT to return results equally good on other languages. So for example, take a simple Python function in an add function, and you want to say, write documentation. This is something I use it extensively. I use it in ChatGPT. Trust me, this is the most used feature, at least for me, because I always want to. I lack writing in documentation, so I feel lazy. So this is definitely helps me to overcome that thing here. So this, as you can see, once you pass that paragraph, once you pass that Python codes, ChatGPT returns a doc string. So whenever I'm working on the code, most of I use this feature all the time, that use the doc string, create the doc string. And if you want to do some conversion, so for example, Python to JavaScript or JSON to XML, let's let's see this example. I want to convert this Python code to JavaScript. All right. So as you can see, this is very, very good. And equally, like for example, I am working on the Python. I want to, do the same thing. I want to call the same OpenAI API using Node.js. So, it immediately converts that. Another very useful feature is when I'm working on some upgrade code and I don't know what that particular piece of code does, you can always use the code interpreter feature. You have to, for a pro version, you have to have an upgraded account and you have to enable that using this using code interpreter. But for example, let's take an example. So this is the piece of the code and I want to say, hey, define that code, explain this code to me. As you can see, so once you have to pass that code as a, you can always put that code in a text file and you can upload that file using code interpreter as well. So once I did that, I'm going to show you a live example here. Again, these are included in the notebook. As you can see, this does a very fairly good job of defining a function. So for example, you are struggling to understand what this code does, and it explains that this code interpreter, it does a fabulous job. And this is the second best feature I use when I'm working with OpenAI ChatGPT completion. So definitely it yields to, it explains the code very, very well in simple language, in simple English. All right. So again, these are all of these examples are included in the video description below. And you can rate it yourself how good job it is doing to interpret certain code. Last thing I want to show you, BARD versus ChatGPT. Again, this is the live demo. You can see it myself. But previously, I have written at least 15 to 20 Python automation code, and all the code generated was using ChatGPT. Now, what I did, I used BARD to generate the same amount of code, and then I did a comparison. Again, this is not it depends on your subscription as well, and depends when exactly you executed BARD or exactly you executed ChatGPT. But trust me, I got the similar results. So this is the table. Again, this is you can go through my RPA repository and you will see all the sample code here. In this table, as you can see, I tried to execute the code in ChatGPT and BARD. And this is the kind of a score I gave it out of 10. Most of the time, as you can see, for simple scripts, BARD did equally good job. One or two times it was lacking. So for example, it didn't write the perfect code and countdown timer, but it could be a mistake as well. It could be a prompt, or it could be my fault as well. At the same time, when I gave it some difficult things to write, so for example, write an interface or write a class program for something which is more complex, they both did pretty bad job. So I'm not worried about ChatGPT or BARD taking over my job as a programmer. But most of the time, this definitely helps. I can tell you one thing, BARD and ChatGPT, they both both are here to make me a better programmer. So for example, I use it for simple coding. I use it for code interpreter. I use the doc string, and if I want to create an ERD program, mermaid program, I use these features a lot. I hope you find this video useful, and in future I'll be making more videos on other Python automation related scripts. Thank you for watching. Thank you.